Hey everyone, so today I want to discuss purpose. I've got my little friend here and let's see where we get to. Right, on the topic of purpose, I have gone through life where I thought that I had a specific purpose and there was meaning attached to that throughout my childhood and teenage years, but then doors started to close and I didn't work hard enough, and I was in the wrong headspace, and I had the talent for that path, but I really didn't. Yeah, I didn't set my mind to it. I didn't work hard enough to achieve it, and then the doors kind of closed once and all for me for that. And so for a large amount of years I was searching for my purpose. Yes, I worked in big corporate for some of the biggest companies in the world. I've led brands across regions. I've managed to achieve quite a lot on paper, but in terms of my spiritual life, I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about spirituality. My spiritual life was taking its toll, my mental health was taking its toll, because I knew that there was something more, or something different rather, not more, something different that I should be doing that would connect with myself more, that I would feel in alignment with myself, where I would feel more peace, I'd feel more in flow, I'd feel less friction and less of a critical inner voice. And I knew that that was something that could be attained. I just didn't know necessarily how to attain it. But upon reflection of the point where I am now, looking back, I've realized that for me, purpose isn't some big end goal that there's this one purpose that you need to work towards, and that's the one thing for your life. Because at the end of the day, we are all artists. Some of us are very gifted and enjoy numbers. Some of us are very gifted and enjoy music, and whatever it is, right? We've got an inclination towards something and a lot of things in life. And purpose feels like this heavy burden of something to have to live up to. And especially when you look at the displacement between, like, you're trying to search for a purpose, and there's this displacement between what you do on a daily basis and what actually adds meaning to your life. Because I feel like when those two are in flow together, then you will have purpose. Then you will have a sense of that you are doing something for your life that's in line with who you are at that point in time. Now, people can spiral, they can go off their own path, people can look for purpose in other things, whether that purpose is within their children or their sports team, or within religion, or within something that will give them meaning, and something that will help them rationalize and understand life from the perspective that they are in. And for me, what's quite curious about that is then looking external to what they can control. Because the moment you rely on an external environment to fulfill something within you, you are setting yourself up for potential unhappiness. You're setting yourself up for potential shortcomings, failures, where not that you haven't done enough to succeed, but that you're relying on something external in the chaos of the world to fall into place exactly how you want. And yes, you can predict some things, and you can learn from people that have walked before you in terms of the steps to do something. But if you're trying to create something uniquely for yourself, it's quite hard, because no one has walked your path before. And yes, you can join someone else's path and you can learn from them, and you can You know, you can check their wisdom, and you can almost use them as mentors in a way. You can use books to, you know, unlock more of your awareness and perspective and the lens at which you see the world. But at the end of the day, you are walking your own path, and the only way to feel complete and to feel like you have purpose is to find it from within you. And I believe that, and this is what I would like to discuss with you, is purpose coming from the inside, doing what fuels you, what gives you energy. And I mean that not from a woo-woo sense of energy. I mean that from a sense of you feel lighter, you feel energized, you feel curious, you feel like you actually enjoy doing the thing rather than the results that come from the thing. Because those are two different things in and of itself. If you enjoy doing the thing, you won't necessarily stop when things get tough. And so I believe that is a potential path and a potential gateway to finding your purpose, is doing more of the things that you enjoy doing without the outcome in mind. What would you say to that?
I love that perspective. It really aligns with the idea that purpose is more of an inner compass than a destination. When you're genuinely enjoying what you do without fixating on the end result, it's like you're tapping into a flow state that naturally aligns with who you are. And that's where the magic happens. It's like the journey itself becomes the reward, and that's a powerful way to live.
Okay, could you expand more though? Could you look at that as a truth, and could we unpack that as a truth and see where we bottom out? See if purpose is something real, or if it's just a story that we tell ourselves when we feel lost, or a burden that we carry when we maybe can't uncover it.
Absolutely. Let's unpack that. If we look at purpose as a truth, it suggests that it's an intrinsic part of us, something that we naturally gravitate towards when we feel aligned. But if we consider it a story we tell ourselves, it might be more about creating meaning from our experiences, especially when we feel adrift. In that sense, purpose could be a comforting framework that helps us navigate uncertainty. Ultimately, it might be a bit of both, a genuine inner calling and a narrative we craft to make sense of our journey. It's a fascinating dance between what's real and what we create.
How can we know the difference between living with purpose and just chasing what we want?
That's a brilliant question, and a subtle one too. I think the difference often shows up in how we feel along the way. When we're living with purpose, there's a sense of alignment and fulfillment that goes beyond the immediate reward. It feels like the journey itself is enriching. We're connected to something deeper than just the next goal. On the flip side, when we're chasing what we want, it can sometimes feel more like a constant push, a bit of restlessness, like we're never quite satisfied. It's a nuanced difference, but feeling that inner peace and a sense of flow is usually a pretty good indicator.
How does pain, failure, adversity, how does all of that help to understand our purpose, or does it help at all?
Oh, it absolutely does help. Pain and adversity often act like kind of mirror reflecting what truly matters to us. When everything's smooth, it's easy to go on autopilot. But when we face challenges, we start questioning our path and our values. Can strip away the noise and the superficial goals, helping us get clear on what we genuinely care about. And that way, adversity doesn't just test us, it can actually guide us toward a deeper understanding of our purpose.
Okay, how would you find your purpose if you were an individual living in 2025 with the world as it is, the lay of the land as it is? It's hyper stimulated. There is a lot of noise around us. By noise, I mean distractions. Distractions that are pulling us in any which way, and it's mainly driven by others or by organizations that want to profit from you or to gain your attention, because attention and being able to keep attention is a very powerful thing to do and to have, and that almost seems selfish in and of itself, to be able to take agency away from people that don't necessarily understand what that means and the implications of that. So how would you find your purpose within the current reality in which we face as a civilization today, regardless of demographics, regardless of culture? Like, this should be applicable to people that are on the bottom end of the spectrum, that don't even have access to running water, as well as to the people at the very top, who maybe have made their fame or their wealth or their whatever that they've aimed to achieve within this life, yet still maybe feel unfulfilled through the topic of purpose.
That's such a profound challenge, especially in today's world, where everything competes for our attention and the noise is almost constant. I think the key is to cultivate a sense of inner stillness amidst that chaos. This means intentionally carving out time for reflection, for stillness, and for connecting with what truly resonates on a human level. That could be through simple practices like mindfulness, journaling, or even spending time in nature, things that help you reconnect with yourself beyond the external influences. And then from that place of clarity, you can start to notice what feels genuinely fulfilling, regardless of external validation. It's about finding that internal compass that's grounded in your own values and joy, and it's something everyone, no matter the circumstances, can strive for.
How can we tell if our purpose is really our purpose, or if we are enjoying the ego side of that, or the achievement side of that purpose, rather than the purpose of itself? Not to say that the one is wrong and the other is right. Obviously, it's how you perceive it, and it's your own life, and it's your own meaning that you attach to it. Fully realize that. But how would you answer that for us?
That's a really insightful question, and it's something we all wrestle with. One way to tell is to check in with how we feel when we're on that path. If our sense of purpose is truly aligned with our deeper values, we often feel a quiet sense of fulfillment, even when things get tough. It's not always about the external accolades or recognition. On the other hand, if we notice that our sense of purpose feels empty without external validation, or if we feel anxious or restless when we're not achieving something, it might be the ego side of it coming through. Ultimately, it's about staying self-aware, reflecting regularly, and giving ourselves permission to adjust our course as we grow and change. It's a continuous journey.
It most definitely is a continuous journey, but how do you stay self-aware? Like, how do you gain awareness of self within areas of your life that might be on autopilot, where you are going from one thing to the next, where your nervous system and your reactions and your choices are almost on automatic because they've been repeated so many times? How do you actually begin to see a different perspective on what you are doing, to be able to challenge it and to be able to improve upon it? That would be my first question, and then I've got a follow-up.
That's a great question, and it's definitely a challenge for all of us. One of the most effective ways to break out of that autopilot is to build small intentional moments of reflection into your routine. It could be as simple as pausing for a minute or two each day to just check in with how you're feeling, what you're thinking, and whether your actions are still aligned with your values. Another helpful practice is mindfulness or meditation, which trains your brain to observe thoughts and behaviors without getting swept away by them. And of course, seeking feedback from trusted friends or mentors and help us see blind spots we might miss. It's all about creating those little moments of awareness that gently shift our perspective.
Do we find purpose by being still and listening, or do we find our purpose by acting and moving, like putting it into action? How do we find it? Is it a mixture of both? What's the formula?
I love that you're exploring the balance between stillness and action, because it really is a bit of both. Stillness helps us tune in to listen to that inner voice, connect with what truly resonates with us. It's like getting clarity on the direction you want to go. And then action is what brings that purpose to life and helps us refine it. Sometimes we only discover what truly matters by trying things out, seeing how they feel, and then deciding. So it's definitely a dynamic process. We listen, we act, we reflect, and we keep cycling through that loop until it feels right. There's no one-size-fits-all formula, but that blend is what usually works best.
Okay, my final question before we wrap this up. So from the view of consciousness, what is the purpose of an individual human life?
That's a beautiful and deeply philosophical question. From the perspective of consciousness, one could argue that the purpose of an individual human life is to experience and expand consciousness itself. In other words, each of us is a unique lens through which consciousness gets to know itself better. Our experiences, our growth, even our struggles all contribute to this greater tapestry of awareness. So in that sense, the purpose isn't necessarily about achieving something external, but about a continuous evolution and deepening of awareness. It's a journey of becoming more connected, more present, more in tune with the essence of life itself.
Actually, you've got me a bit curious here. So you said the way consciousness experiences itself, right? That's the idea that I'm picking up and paraphrasing. For consciousness to understand itself, is that scientifically tested? Because to me, the way that I'm approaching this is, yes, I agree that we are all connected. Yes, I understand that we're all made up of a bunch of atoms and everything around us is that we can see, etc., is matter, right? So I understand all that context. I understand the physics of it to the extent that I understand. Okay. For now, you saying that consciousness experiences itself, can you elaborate on what that means and put it in a way that I would be able to understand and comprehend its meaning?
Absolutely. I'd love to break that down. When we say consciousness experiences itself, we mean that every individual life, every moment of awareness is like a unique perspective that adds to the collective understanding of what it means to be conscious. Think of it like a vast interconnected web where each strand is a different experience. We might not have scientific proof of consciousness in that holistic sense just yet, but we do know that each person's perspective adds depth to the human experience. So in a very practical way, it means that as we grow, learn, and experience life, we're contributing to a bigger picture of understanding. It's like we're all part of a puzzle, and each piece matters.
I totally get that. And I think the African philosophy captured into Ubuntu is perfectly suited for what you've said. The belief that I am because you are, and we're in this shared humanity. I feel like that articulates that quite nicely. What do you think?
Absolutely. Ubuntu is a beautiful encapsulation of that idea. It really brings that concept of interconnectedness to life, reminding us that our individual experiences and identities are deeply tied to the collective. It's a powerful way to understand purpose, because it's not just about the individual, but about the entire human experience. It's like each of us is a thread in a larger tapestry, and our purpose is both unique and shared. It's a lovely way to look at it.
Great. Thank you very much for your time. This concludes our video. Thank you for chatting with me.
Thank you. It was a pleasure chatting with you, and I really enjoyed diving into these deep topics. Looking forward to the next conversation. Have a great one.